What is up, everyone? Jay here with another Fire Emblem Heroes video, and today I'm going to be talking about my boy Halloween Zane's new weapon refine because it's awesome, it's really fun, and I really like what they did with it. So this is going to be a breakdown and a bit of an analysis and some skill recommendations that you might want to use on your own Halloween Zane, and also I'll be showcasing him a bit in Arena because why not? So yeah, Halloween Zane's weapon refine is finally here, and he was benchwarming for a while. I haven't used him in years. And when he released, he was one of the most unique units in the game. And, you know, everyone, or not everyone, but a lot of people got a copy of him because of how fun he was at the time, being able to copy stats. And I really like how they implemented him into Fae, you know, emulating his freelancer class and his transforming abilities from the main Fire Emblem games. So he's not only one of the most unique characters in Fae, but also in Fire Emblem in general. Just his ability to transform into anything he wants is pretty crazy. It's pretty much unexplained. I don't know why he can do it, but it makes him super cool, and he's always been one of my favorite XANE'S characters. So he's pretty much Loki of the main series, I suppose. And a Loki and Zane Harmonic is something I want to see because they're the two best shapeshifters. But anyways, let's look at his weapon refine for Joker's Wild. So Joker's Wild grants him the close counter ability and HP plus 5, which is great because HP plus 5 means his HP is going to increase, and obviously, and the HP stat is the only stat that matters for him because he's copying every other stat. So HP is the only one thing that matters, and it's going to give him more bulk, and he does have a naturally high HP stat, so that's great. And close counter being built in is amazing because not many units have close counter built in. I think the only other one is Shinon, if I remember correctly. So, and close counter is not even a sacred seal, which is crazy to me. Hopefully they add that as a sacred seal because we have so many variants of this encounter, but not a single close counter. So Zane having close counter is amazing, so you can free his A slot, and I used to have close counter on him, so now you don't have to run that. And it also makes him available to counter against Lin Ring. So any Lin Ring cheesers, you know, Zane has that covered, so you can at least have a shot. So yeah, really cool effect. And my Zane is at plus 10. So that's why my HP stat is super high. So if you have him at no merges or low merges, it's completely fine because, again, he copies people's stats. The reason I plus 10 him is because he's one of my favorite Fire Emblem characters. So I was one of the few who actually did that. But if you only have one copy of him, yours is pretty much going to perform similarly to mine. And in some cases, actually better because, well, I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, close counter built in, HP plus 5 is great. Furthermore, he gets plus 10 to all of his stats, and he also copies these stats. So he's going to take the highest respective stat from allies within 3 spaces of him, subtracted by his own. So, for example, let's say that my Marth and Lind are next to him, and they both have 60 attack and speed. So he will take the 60 value from his teammates, right, the highest stat, and then subtract it by his own. So let's say, I mean, it's not true. You can see my Zane stat right here, but just for the sake of making it easy, let's say he has 30 attack and speed. So that means he's going to get 30 attack and speed in combat. And you can see that in the weather, not the weather, the battle forecast thing. Weather forecast, geez. In the battle forecast where you can see the plus stat, so he will get plus 30 attack and speed in my scenario I just gave. So that's just an example of how it works. So I think that's how it worked before the weapon refine. It just wasn't explained correctly, or it wasn't explained very well. So now they're expanding upon it. So I really like that. So yeah, potential stats are crazy. You know, he can get a lot of stats in combat and just be a really big stat ball. So, and also one thing to keep in mind is he also copies any great talent stat increases. So if you have great talent active, he also copies that. So that's really cool. Then he also gets true damage based on 20% of his speed. So, you know, he's copying speed, so that's not too bad to get. You know, you can get a lot of true damage. Not a lot, but 20%, you know, excluding AoEs. And then he also gives out, this is the really cool part that I didn't expect. He gets Hexblade, or he gives Hexblade, Null Panic, and plus 6 to all their stats for 1 turn to allies within 3 spaces of him. And 3 spaces is really nice, not 2 spaces. So that makes it more flexible, and this is at both phases, at the start of both phases. So 3 space range is amazing, and this means you don't have to use him for his combat. So even though he can be really good in combat, you don't have to. You can just make him a support bot, and he has a lot of options for support, being an infantry unit. So it's really cool. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is that he doesn't give this to himself, so he's not going to get the Null Panic, Hexblade, and the plus 6 to himself, unfortunately. But still, really cool utility, and makes him, you know, more multifaceted. He's not just a combat unit, so I really like that. Then he gets flat damage reduction by 20% of the higher defense or res on the first attack of the foe. So again, he's copying people's stats, so whatever his higher defense or res is, he gets flat DR 20% on the first attack, which is nice because flat DR nowadays is pretty much mandatory if you really want to tank stuff. And again, it's only on the first hit, but it's appreciated. And then lastly, he gets a scowl effect, which is a really cool reference, and I really like that they put this here because they didn't have to, but it's a cool reference to how he used to be a normal Manakete. So if you didn't know, in the lore, Zane was one of the original dragons. You know, he grew up with Tiki. He's kind of like her annoying big brother. And the scowl effect is a thing that dragons have, and he used to be a dragon. So he stopped becoming a dragon because he threw away his dragon stone, and he just gained the ability to transform into anything for some reason. I don't think it's ever explained, but it's what makes him really cool and mysterious. So, and one of the reasons he's my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters. So yeah, the scowl effect is a really cool reference to that, and yeah, really fun. So you can make him very, very tanky. You know, the scowl effect is really appreciated in a metagame where there's so much special jumping, and just all the stats that he gets, true damage, the support that he can give is altogether just makes a really solid weapon refine. And it's not the best in the batch. Like this batch, we got Ronin, who turned into a superhero. Like Ronin got an insane weapon refine, but Zane's right there. He's like probably second or third best, I'd say. But yeah, really love this weapon refine, and the fact that they gave this to him, and he's not even a 5-star exclusive unit or anything. You know, he's a 4-star seasonal demote, which a lot of people pulled for. So if you have, you know, him at 1 merge or no merges, your Zane is pretty much going to work at the same or almost at the same compared to mine. So it's he's just one of the most unique characters in the game, and I really love how they implemented him. So I'm curious how they'll implement regular Zane, base Zane, if he ever gets into the game. Probably similarly, but I'll be interested. Hopefully they make him a little bit different. So yeah, that is the weapon refine, and I think I got everything. I went over everything. Yeah, so hopefully that made sense. And now we have some things you can do with him. One of the things you can do is make him an anti-Larather unit, and Larather is one of those units who I hate facing because I use Omni tanks, and he just destroys my team because my team has to take hits. But now with Halloween Zane, you can be an anti-Larather tech, which is really cool. So how this works is you can trick him to put a sign decoy on Zane. Because Zane's defense naturally is pretty low. Mine's 29 because I have him at plus 10. So if you have him at no merges, his is only going to be like 25 or something. So in that case, it's actually better to have him, you know, ideally you want to have the lowest defense possible so you get the sign decoy on you. So the reason you want to sign decoy on Zane is because with his seemingly low defense, it's going to get targeted, and then he's going to be forced into a far savior role, right? But because he copies stats, his stats are way higher, right? If you have high stat teammates next to him. So that is really cool. So he will go into far savior, and Larather will think, oh, he's got low defense, let's just kill him. You probably can't, or at least Zane will have a shot at surviving because his stats are going to be way higher than they seem on the surface. So really cool anti-Larather tech, and this is a more competitive thing. If you guys don't care about Aether Raids, you know, because he's everywhere in that mode, then it's not the biggest deal. But the fact that he can do this is really cool, and the fact that he has no panic support is really nice because panic effects, there's so many more panic effects now. We've had a lot of units with those effects, so, and panic ruins my attuned Sita a lot of the time. So the fact that he gives no panic gives her that insurance, and he can make sure he copies those stats and makes him a pretty good far savior. So I really like that he can be a good check or a potential check or counter to Larather. So that's something I want to test out in Aether Raids. That's really exciting. So yeah, as someone who hates fighting him, this is something I'm really excited about. And you know, the support in his weapon, like they didn't have to give him no panic hexblade support. They didn't have to do that, but they're like, let's not make him one-dimensional. You know, he can also have utility. So I really like that. So I really appreciate that, guys. But yeah, that is one thing to note that you can do with Zane, besides just being a support bot or a combat unit or a mix of both. So for skills and, you know, builds that you might want to use. So budget builds, Moonbow, HP plus 5, Sudden Panic. I used to use Sudden Panic on him in his B when he first released. Infantry Pulse 3. Works fine because those are skills to make use of his high HP because he has naturally high HP. So those are good budget skills. You don't want to use close counter because again he has that in the weapon, so those are good budget skills. But if you want to invest into him more, which I do recommend, of course, you know, I'm biased as you know, he's one of my favorites, but you can use attack speed finish. Attack speed unity is really cool because you can stack even more stats in combat when he gets debuffed, so that's a nice option. Magical no follow-up to give him DR Pierce if you're not using a Lagoose friend. So these are kind of like code skills you can use because a lot of these are in the codes from like Brave Soren. Time Spells 4 helps with his lack of -1 cooldown, so you can trigger his specials more. And then at higher or max investment, these are the skills I recommend, and you can see the build right here already. So Fire Flood boost, or any kind of, you know, tier 3 boost, or mixed boost, should I say, you know, the Firestorm, Earth, Wind, Fire Flood, Deluge boost, any of those is nice. So the speed ones are good because it gives you more true damage in his weapon, but also the res ones are also good because it gives you more res for the scowl effect. So it's like pick your poison, you know, it's up to you. You can also just run Deluge boost, which gives you both, but Deluge boost is a really rare skill that's only on Ice Tribe Fjorm. But yeah, the boost skills are nice because it gives him the guard effect, and there is a lot of null guard nowadays in the metagame, but still, mainly you want to use Fire Flood boost for the HP because again, the HP stat is the only stat that really matters for Zane. So along with his weapon, Fire Flood boost, Sacred Seal, HP plus 5 seal, you can get him to pretty high HP. So those are options in the A. Another option in the A is bonus number 4, which I have on mine. Bonus number 4 is a really cool option because it gives them even more stats. It's mainly for the stats. You know, you lose HP, but you get more stats because you're giving your teammates the +6 to all their stats. You take some of that from them and get stronger in combat. So bonus number 4 is something I want to try. I think I like the boost skills a little bit more, but bonus number 4 can just give him a little bit more stats, which can definitely matter, and it synergizes with his weapons. So bonus number 4 is cool. Another option you can give, which I don't have on him, is the new Perfect Attack Speed. Perfect Attack Speed gives him no follow-up, you know, so that's something that he's missing. You can also just run Infantry no follow-up 4 in the C slot to make him more supportive. I prefer Infantry Pulse 4, and I do already have Infantry no follow-up from like Emblem Marth, who I use a lot, obviously. So you can mix and match. There's a lot of options because he's infantry. So, and you can also run Breath of Life. So he's got a lot of cool utility options to support the team. Infantry Pulse 4, Time Pulse 4 if you want to make him more offensive with the specials, you know. So just a lot of cool stuff. Infantry no follow-up 4, like I said already. So yeah, C slot, I skipped the B slot. Lagoose Friend obviously is the best B slot as it is for many units in the game. So it's no different for Zane here because he has the flat damage reduction. You can stack it and get even more with Lagoose Friend. You get the damage reduction piercing, which is great with Flare, which is obviously his best special because you get healing. So that's really fun. And the fact that he doesn't have -1 cooldown makes it so Flare actually works with Lagoose Friend. So that's really cool. And then his X skill, if you want to give him X skill, mine's at max investment obviously, but Null Counter Disrupt is great to have. It's probably his best one. You can give him other ones, I suppose, but right now NCD Echo is probably his best because, again, anti-Larather, which I keep saying because I hate that guy. You can ignore his flash status. So, you know, even if you can do the assigned decoy, it might not matter because you can't counterattack, but with no counter disrupt Echo, you don't have to worry about the flash status, so that's really useful. So that's his best X skill in my opinion. And for Seal, you can run, again, another Seal that boosts HP, but I like Tempo because with his, you know, let's say with this build, you have the guard effect, you have the tempo effect that also helps against specials, and then you have the scowl effect in the weapon. It makes it pretty hard for the foe to hit you with the nuke, so I like that option. So those are pretty much everything that I recommend for the skills, I think. I guess the best assist is Reposition Gate, but I don't have that kind of fodder. So yeah, these are pretty much the builds I have for my Halloween Zane. And oh yeah, Emblem Ring. Ike, should I say. Ike's Emblem Ring is probably the best one because it gives him even more damage reduction. So yeah, that is, you know, a no-brainer. So you can give him like a finish seal as well. Breath of Life 4, as I mentioned, can also help and also help your teammates, but keep in mind he still has a low base defense. So he's not the best user of it, but it can work, I suppose. But you have to watch out for like big AoE hits that could pierce through him. But yeah. So that is pretty much the breakdown and my thoughts on the Weapon Refine. It's really cool. It's really fun. And yeah, again, I highly recommend, even if you only have him at +1, no merges, because he's going to be one of the most fun units to have. Like, he's almost like a backup unit. Let's say you're struggling against a map or something and you're like, okay, I have these units, they have high stats, but they can't do it. You can have Zane and maybe try it with him. You know, he's just, he fits on any team, honestly. You know what I mean? So what I was thinking too, another cool option you can do is, as someone who uses Brave Marth, who I don't use Brave Marth as much as I used to, but Brave Marth benefits from the stat buffs, and the fact that he gives those stat buffs to everybody means that he can potentially buff the entire team, which makes Marth's Vantage even easier. So a lot of cool tech that you can do with him. Another, I forgot to mention, in the C slot, you can also run Canto Control for more support. Canto Control 3 is fine. Firm Canto Curb isn't really necessary unless you want to give him that, but yeah, Canto Control can also work for more support, especially in summer duels. So that is pretty much the Zane Weapon Refine Halloween Zane. And now I'll go into Arena and showcase a bit of his power. All right, we got a game against, oh boy, the bane of my existence, Brave Felix. Now, we might lose here because Felix just is ridiculous, and he's one of my most hated units to fight in the game, as it is for a lot of people. But let's see what we can do. I doubt Zane can actually tank Brave Felix because he just gets so much damage reduction, you know, flat DR. So we'll see. My Toon Sita might have a chance to tank him, but, you know, sometimes she can take him out, sometimes she can't, which is ridiculous to say, but yeah. I'm confident Zane will be able to tank Byleth, Marnie, and Robin, the other armors, but let's see how fast Felix destroys our team here. There he is. Okay, actually, Sita takes him on. That's fine. I'm happy about that. Because if Zane, not Zane, sorry, if Felix doubles me, and then I'm way, like, I'm pretty, okay, never mind. Well, let's see what happens. Felix, I thought Sita would be able to kill him. Felix is going to attack. Okay, Zane takes him on. I mean, he's at 2 HP, so Sita definitely softened him up. But yeah, Zane actually takes out Felix there, so that's cool. I'll take it. Any way to take out that guy. But yeah, so Zane is going to have a field day against these armors, I assume. Marnie, I mean, she's not the best initiator, but she is very bulky. So Lagu's friend just putting in work. Flare is going to trigger and do a decent amount of damage to see how much this does. 33, that's pretty good. Marnie retreats, and now, yeah, we'll just keep pushing forward here. So, you know, in this situation right here, what he's copying is going to be the 80 attack stat of Marth, because that's the highest one among his allies, and then the 68 speed of Sita. Not 69, but the 68 speed minus his own speed. So, yeah, I guess the buff that I'm giving him from Sita doesn't help, because that's going to make the difference less. So, I guess that's kind of bad, but it shouldn't matter too much here. It should be fine. Yeah, so Marnie is dead pretty much. Breath of Life 4 is going to trigger. I mean, that's not on him. That's from Sita. I like to have it on her if I can. But having it on Zane is also an option. So she survives because of the miracle, I think. But she's not... Okay, this is going to take a while, guys. Let me just turn off the animations. Because all these armors are super duper bulky. Okay, Marnie's dead. Byleth is dead as well soon. Yep. And then Robin, last but not least. We'll just turn this back on. So yeah, Zane's Weapon Refine. Look at him tanking a Brave Felix. I'm pretty sure that one was +10. This one's a bit of a stalemate because no one doubles, but Zane will come out on top, I'm sure. Let's go Zane, man. I didn't expect this Weapon Refine to be so stacked. I mean, maybe not as stacked as other Weapon Refines, especially Rodents, but Zane got so much more than I expected, you know? Like, I really just expected stats, but the fact that they give him support and the Hexblade and the little Panic is super useful for his team. But, you know, he's not invincible. You definitely have to watch out for threats, you know, because he still gets shredded by, like, really big nukes that can hit really hard with a lot of true damage, AoEs, like I mentioned. Like, I'm pretty sure Legendary Micaiah's new Weapon Refine and her remix can really put a dent in Zane, because she deals Panic, and the Panic effect is not going to matter against his teammates, but it might with him, because again, he doesn't give the null Panic to himself. But the fact that he gives null Panic is super fun, because I can use a favorite with a Toon Sita and just, you know, not have to worry about panic status. So Robin, we'll just get over this. She's pretty much dead. Yeah, Robin still being a pretty good, armor. She's aged pretty decently well, I feel like, with, Arcane Fellstone and whatnot. And the fact that she has Shield Fighter. I mean, pretty much every armor got better. But Robin, I feel like, is a sleeper armor. So she can be really annoying. But yeah, she's gone here, hopefully. Thank you. Okay. All right, so that's the first game. Brave Felix, he shows up in my nightmares. But thankfully, Zane didn't care. And because he copied stats, I'm pretty sure that Brave Felix wasn't able to double me. I mean, not that he would be able to, because, he was at 2 HP. But I'm going to re-roll here to get a better team, because some of these legendaries are a bit old. Like Summer Edelgard isn't the best anymore. We have, okay, Legendary Corrin. Let me get like I want to fight a Lorather team. That would be great. But I don't know how common it is in Arena. All right, we're fighting another cool and bulky colorless tome user in New Year Asker, who's still very, very bulky. And we have Peony as a dancer. So let's actually see how much Zane can take on, the husband and wife here. I'll do this. Okay, I'm pretty sure he can take on New Year Asker. Lindsay's gonna swoop in. She's gonna do like maybe 5 damage. Okay, she does nothing. And then Flare's gonna trigger. Yummy. And now there comes Asker, and he does nothing as well. Look at this, man. Guys, keep in mind, this is not Zane's... Actually, it wouldn't matter. What am I talking about? He's still copying people's stats. But I was going to say, this isn't his arena bonus or anything. And even if it was, it wouldn't matter. Except for HP. But still, I'm really impressed that he does, Asker does nothing. And you guys, if you have a low merged Zane, and you have the right teammates, he's pretty much going to perform in similar fashion. Because, I mean, look at this. 69 times 2, 43 attack, 30 speed in combat, 38 res, or defense, and 30 res. Like, that's no joke, man. I mean, I know a lot of units in the game can stat ball, just with how much stats we get in weapons nowadays. But Zane is a unique case because, you don't really have to run boosting skills on him. I mean, Fire Flood boost is there, but it's not like you have to run, the standard, like, finish skill. I mean, you can definitely use that on him, but I like Fire Flood boost because it gives him more res for the scowl, and when he is having to deal with ranged threats, he gets more res. And of course more HP. So yeah, I might want to try the bonus number build, maybe. We can try that. I guess I can switch it. Why not? I mean, it's gonna give you like 10 more stats, but might as well try it out. Oops, I accidentally locked the team. Let me go to the bonus number build, the BD4 build. All right, and we'll do one more game because I have one more crest, and hopefully it's something good. Ninja Lin. Yeah, Ninja Lin's not the threat she used to be. Let's see. Okay, Summer Gold Mary. Why not? She hits pretty hard. She's really bulky. And we have Sather here and Fargus. Not the great... this is a life and death Fargus. Okay, a bit weird. Not the best team to showcase the last game, but it's okay. But you guys get the gist of it. Zane is a really cool unit with lots of potential and also utility. Because if he didn't have the utility, then it's like, okay, he's a good combat unit, but that's about it, right? But the fact that he gives utility makes him stand out a bit more, and it will help him age better, I think. I mean, he's going to age with the game because he's going to copy people's stats. So no matter how high the power creep gets, no matter how high the stats are, Zane will be right there. I mean, not copying it directly, but at least he'll have, this kind of uniqueness. Gold Mary does nothing. Yeah, we are good. Yeah. All right. And the turn. Sather is going to do 7 times 2. I know Zane can take her because I did a couple tests, and Sather, he was able to take a couple plus 10 ones. So she does nothing. He might not kill, but let's see how much this does. Never mind. How can I doubt you? And now here comes Gold Mary, and it's just like they're running into a wall, man. They're just running into this mage who can counter up close without running close counter in the A slot and just be really annoying. And just, again, Lorather bait is really fun. So yeah, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, as you might expect from the best shapeshifter in the series. So that's pretty much it. I mean, the last battle wasn't the most ideal, but hopefully you guys got the idea of how fun and cool and strong Zane can be. Even at low investment, you know, you don't have to use this build that I'm using. You can just use like magical no follow-up and he can work similarly. You just have to watch out for some effects and certain units that are really strong that might just shred him. But overall, I'm really happy with his weapon refine, and it encapsulates the essence of Zane, you know, his trickster and fun personality. And I'm excited to see what they'll do for his base version if he ever gets in. I mean, there's a chance this year, whenever the next XANE'S banner is. But that is the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoy listening to me ramble about this weapon refine, because it's a lot, you know. It was pretty lengthy, but it's pretty simple to understand once you get a grasp of it. But yeah, really cool weapon refine, and I hope to use Zane more in Aether raids, especially because Tree Dad has to be defeated, and I hate fighting that guy. I mean, it might be a little bit of stubbornness from my end because I refuse to use other strategies besides Omni tanking because I'm just so used to tanking. You know, I know there's Gale Force and everything, but I'm just lazy. So Zane will help, hopefully. And yeah, I'm just pretty impressed with the weapon refine. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.